everybody, Shelly here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Hi, how are you? Let me comment down below. Okay, you guys, so today's something a little bit different. I thought I would give you kind of a thought on these Catrice 5-pan eyeshadow palettes. I have 4 of them. Then they're like 5 in a box, I think is what they're called. So I have 4 of them, and they all say that they're made with rose oil. They're not very expensive. I think I got them, I got 2 of them off of Ulta's website, and then 2 of them from Catrice's website directly. And when I first looked at them, I think the first one I got, the first 2 I think I got were these 2. One of them is called Golden Nude Look. There we go. So that's Golden Nude Look. And then the second one is called Warm Spice Look. And that's Warm Spice Look. And when I picked these up, I thought, my first thought was, do these look like Natasha Denona palettes? Maybe. So as far as the Warm Spice Look, I grabbed the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette. If you look at them, they're not exact dupes, but there's like maybe 1 shade off. The palettes are very, very similar. I mean, if you were to blindfold somebody, maybe you could feel that, yeah, the only reason I know that they're, no, I barely can tell the difference. There's maybe a little tiny, like microscopic amount of heavier weight in the Natasha Denona than what's in the Catrice 5 in a box. So that we'd swatch a couple of these, because then as I got more in, I'm like, okay, they look like other like other palettes we've seen too. Okay, so this is the Catrice 5 in a box. So I'm going to take these here. I did clean my arm with a little micellar water. That's pretty pigmented. Okay, we're going to take the shimmer next to it. And sorry you guys, I don't do swatches very well. Wow. That's pretty much 1 swipe of just coppery goodness. We're going to take the matte in the center of the palette. And that went on a little lighter, but that makes sense because it's a lighter shade. Not bad at all. We're going to pinky the nude color here. You know what? That's not even too chalky. Wow, do you see how the pigment really kind of even covered up my tattoo a little bit? Wow. Okay, and then we've got the last shade is this shimmer down here. I'm going to swipe it the wrong direction because I'm using my thumb. Wow. Those are really beautiful. Okay, let's, for fun, swipe. I'm going to clean my finger off here. My fingers. We're going to swipe the Natasha Denona Nude palette, Mini Nude palette right next to it, and just see if the shades are similar. See if there's anything that's similar. Trying to dry off my fingers here so we get a similar application. Okay, so on the Natasha Denona side, we're going to start with the darkest shade, although it's definitely more warmer colored here. I probably didn't leave myself enough real estate here. So yeah, that's a warmer brown. I'm going to go with a little bit more. You know, aside from it being a little bit more reddish undertone, which makes sense because it looks more red in the pan, I can see how they're very similar. This shade right here that was in the middle of the Catrice pan is by far too light. But let's take the kind of mid-tone shade next in the Natasha Denona palette, and we'll just put it up right next to it. That way you can see how different they are. I feel like if you were to mix this nude shade and that darkest brown, you could actually get a similar color that's in the center of the Catrice palette. Okay, so we're going to grab the next shade in here. We're going to take this sort of mid-toned coppery color. That's going to go next to our coppery shade from Catrice. And as you can see, it's got a lot more gold in it, whereas the Catrice has more of kind of a reddish bronzy color. The Natasha Denona has a lot more gold underneath it. Okay, we're going to take, speaking of gold, we're going to take the next one over on the Natasha Denona side. Those 2 shades are very similar. One of them's a little bit more of an orange undertone, like more of a coppery undertone. Again, not as coppery as bronzy as that, but more of a copper tinge to it, versus this other gold shade in here, which really does feel like gold on a warmer background. Okay, and then the last one is gonna be the shimmer. And we're gonna put this down here next to the Catrice shimmer. And it's a lot more champagne-y. This one seems like it's champagne with gold, but this one's more of like a white champagne. And you can see with the reflection in the camera that it is really, really striking. So here's my take on this particular one. They're not exact dupes, right? Could you get a similar look and feel? Yeah. You'd be hard pressed to convince somebody that one was not the other. These are $25, these little 5 pans from Natasha Denona. These ones from Catrice I think are $6. And as far as like feeling the formula and checking patchiness and stuff like that, I hate to say it, but they actually come through as very similar in consistency. Good job, Catrice. Okay, and as far as the Natasha Denona ones, I think at times you can find them on sale. I know that I've gotten a couple of them at, you know, 50% off, which makes them like $12.50 a piece. They're still twice as much as the Catrice one. So if you're looking for a comparable dupe, this is not a dupe. I would say, I feel like it's inspired by. Let's take the next one, which is the Mini Glam palette compared to the Golden Nude palette. And I felt like the Golden Nude from Catrice, which is this one up here, is a little more cool tone, which is what made me grab the Glam palette. Now, the first thing is, you know, you can see that you've got 2 kind of matte darker colors in the Catrice and only 1 in the Natasha, but then you've got this greenish, silvery color in the Natasha palette. The other 3 shades, they're not spot on dupes by the naked eye, but they actually look pretty good. So let's start with, this time we're going to start with the Natasha Denona one. And I'm going to start with her matte, darkest matte here first. I'm going to go into it a second time just to kind of build up from my bad swatching jobs. I'm going to try to use the same fingers as much as possible. Okay, so that's the darkest one right here. We're going to go into what I would call your transition shade on the Natasha side. And that is so similar to my particular skin tone right now. It's like it's barely discernible. It's maybe a little bit more green than my skin tone, but it's not bad. Speaking of green, let's go into the green in the middle of it here. Wow, one swipe. Really, the formulas in the Natasha Denona, you can't beat them. Can you get close to them? I don't know. We're going to take this. I've got 2 shimmers on the end. This is going to be the one where you've got it open in front of you and you're looking. It's going to be the one on the far left. And I'm going to put that right next to the... So pretty. Yeah, the shimmers are like one swipe. And really, they feel very creamy. You guys know this probably already. Okay, I'm taking the last one down here at the bottom. So these are the Natasha Denona shades. Golden Nude. So we'll take the darkest shade first. Little cooler toned, but not that far off. Okay, we'll take the mid-tone next. Because with the Natasha, we got two mattes. With the Catrice, we get 3 mattes. So we're not gonna be able to do a dupe for dupe, but man, those mattes are very soft. Okay, we'll take the lightest shade and we're putting it next to the odd color out here. So this one got a little chunky. It's more transparent than I think that other palette, because you can really see my tattoo underneath it. Little chalky. I don't know if that one's my favorite shade. Maybe if I were to use that one, I might use it as, you know, inner corner highlighter or, you know, brow bone highlighter, just kind of buff things out a little bit here. We're going to take the coppery kind of shimmer in the Catrice. I'm just trying to see if I go over the top of that tattoo, does it cover it up? And I would say yeah. Wow, a little bit more bronzy than what's in the Glam palette. And then the last one is going to be this lightest champagne-y kind of shimmer. And we're going to put this on the end here too. And it has more of a white undertone to it. Okay, so there you have it. There we've got Natasha Denona on this side. We've got Catrice 5 in a box on this side. Again, they're not spot-on dupes. So don't go into this thinking this is going to be a spot-on dupe. This one, I feel like on this one, the weight on the Mini Glam is bigger than the weight on the, or is heavier than the 5 in a box. And that actually kind of makes sense because this is a little bit different package. It's not the pure white one we saw, you know, with the Mini Nude. There's maybe a little bit more weight to it. Yeah, if I wiggle it a little bit, I feel just a little tiny bit more weight on the Natasha Denona side, but not so much that if you were grabbing this out of a makeup kit, you probably wouldn't notice. Okay, those are the two that I think are the closest, and there isn't a shade that is an exact match. But what I think you get is kind of a similar color story, a similar vibe, and I actually like the fact that they kind of did their version of it and didn't try to come up with an exact dupe. Okay, I'm not gonna swatch these, but I'm gonna show you these other palettes that kind of struck me as being, you know, probably the inspiration behind it. The first one being the Natasha Denona Minizendo palette. This one has, you know, kind of these warmer colored neutrals in here, a copper, this green, this dark purple. And I feel like it most closely resembles the Soft Rose Look palette from Catrice. And I just dug my fingernail into it. Sorry, you guys. Apologize in advance for the now dug in their pan. Keep losing ones out of the Zendo palette here, so I'm going to try not to have it too much without being too much glare on it too. So if you look at this, it doesn't really even appear that many of these are spot-on dupes. I mean, you've got kind of a cooler rosy toned and a warmer rosy toned. This shimmer down here and this, they're very, very cool toned. I don't think you match these two up and get this purple at all. The other two shades are just not even similar. So while at first glance they look like they might be inspired by, I don't think they're all that close. And then the last one I thought I'd grab here is a Natasha Denona Star palette. Now, if you're familiar with my channel at all, I have told you before that this is my favorite of the mini of the 5-pan palettes. And then the comparable inspired by, maybe, is going to be the, this one's going to be the Modern Smoky Look palette. And here you go, comparing these two. So I think with this one, you know, those two browns are similar-ish. The blue and the turquoise kind of, you know, remind me of each other. And that's it. Maybe these two shimmers right here. I can see how they're kind of similar-ish, but you don't have this light matte and you don't have this shiny green or this, you know, kind of almost like an acid green. And you don't have the black. Maybe if you mix these two together, you'd get that. I don't know. I don't know that, or maybe if you mix these two together, you get that one. Something to think about. Anyway, you guys, I hope this was interesting for you. When I saw these Catrice ones come out and I played with them at first, I was like, okay, this formula is actually really nice. It's screaming to me price point and quality of like the little e.l.f. bite size, but you get an extra shade. And when I compare them to like, say, the Wet n Wild, Catrice has it going on, you guys. I'm actually really impressed. I like the fact that they're not trying to be exactly like the Natasha Denona palettes. So kudos to Catrice. I don't get anything sponsored, PR'd, endorsed, nothing like that. I bought these with my own money. I just thought it was a fascinating concept. So what do you guys think? Have you guys tried any of the Catrice palettes? Do you guys, you know, are you guys being fiscally responsible and not spending money on the Natasha Denona, but still kind of want the look, or it speaks to you in some way? Leave me a comment down below. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me your thoughts on these little mini palettes. And I hope you guys are doing really well. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.